Hi there, Stampers. It's Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. Today we are doing a fun fold card that is called a pop out swing. And this is something similar to what I've done before. Um, I did something just a little bit different, but it's part of it is to show you how you can take a fold that I've done and tweak it just a little bit and still get something really cool that matches what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and get started. As I said, we're doing the pop out swing. And last time I did this card, the inside was actually the whole 5.5-inch length. And it was the same color as the base. But this time I wanted that very vanilla under there to give it a little bit of brightness because I thought all of these greens, I don't know, it needed a little something. And I also used a tag back here instead of an actual layer to show that in the inside of a card, I mean, we're used to just using a standard, white or very vanilla layer, but it doesn't mean you couldn't have a layer of DSP and then have a circle or a rectangle or a label in the middle for your inside sentiment or where you would sign your name and write your message to the recipient. Okay, we're going to be using the Springtime Scenes. Once again, I love this. Last time I paired it with the Cute as a Bug Designer Series paper. This time I'm using the Nature's Walk because it's naturey. It's like, and I really liked that this has these neutral tones that can be used for masculine cards and look, very naturey. There's some different patterns on the back, of course, but all very simple backgrounds. They're not distracting, I guess is the word I'm looking for, so that it allows my focal point to have the full center stage of our card. And you'll notice I'm using my glass underneath here. I've always had this glass mat under my grid paper, and my husband actually sprayed it with a matte finish, so now my lights don't reflect in it, so I can use just the glass mat, which is pretty awesome. Okay, we are going to start out with a standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Inside, for that pop out mechanism, I needed this piece that is 8 inches by 5.25 inches. Okay, so it's going to be the height of a standard layer. And again, I'm using white, or actually very vanilla, but you could use a neutral color or you could use the same color as your base. You can use a coordinating color. And you can make it the full length or you can make it a 1/4 inch smaller. It's all going to work. I've scored it at 2, 4, and 6. So I've divided it into 4 equal panels. For the front of the card, I'm using that Nature's Walk DSP. And I have a piece that is 4 by 5.25. We're going to go ahead and cut that out of there. I have 3 pieces of that Designer Series paper, just a different pattern, same idea. And these are all 1 3/4 by 5. Okay, so I've got 3 of them. You could do 4 because there is the option of you could have put one, could have put one over here. And my other video shows you how I matched up the die and cut the, shape out of the Designer Series paper that would go there. But I left it alone this time. Okay, I wanted this to be my focal point in the middle. So I already went ahead and I die cut this piece. But I needed something behind it. So I took the circle out of this, and I don't know, I like the ring, but I really, really, really wish this did a solid circle, not the ring. There are the stylish shapes dies, and one of the circles out of that almost is exactly the same, but it's not exactly the same. It has a teensy bit of extra that shows around it, which worked for my other cards. It didn't work for this one because I need it to go in and out of that opening. So we have that. Okay, then I went and I die cut the solid leaves, and I die cut the detailed leaf. And I did this one in Old Olive and this one in Mossy Meadow. So that's our color pattern here. And then I have the basic black ladybugs with the cherry cobbler red that's going to go over them. Now for my top layers, I used adhesive sheet on the back of all of them. I figure that's going to make them a whole lot easier to put together. But you could use liquid glue if you wish. Just be warned that it may give little shiny marks, so you may need to have your adhesive remover nearby, or be super, super careful when you put it together. Okay, and then I have the two little labels that we're going to use, one for the inside and one for the outside. And you may have noticed that the die set only has the one label. But that's the die I used to cut both of them. Okay, I cut out two that were, you know, the regular whole thing of the label. But then I wanted the sentiment, this "You Brighten My Day." And it's not really a rectangle kind of sentiment, right? It's more of a square sentiment. So I took the die and I arranged it to where it would look good, you know, as a square. And then I kind of taped it. I kind of hovered it over the back, and I had to make sure that I'm inside the cut lines, kind of almost matching up my stitching. Excuse me. And then I used a piece of tape to hold it in place, a very temporary tape. You've seen me use this before. It's a Scotch tape, but it's like Post-it note kind of stuff. So maybe you've got Post-it note tape, you've got Post-its themselves, you've got washi tape, something, but I hold it in place and I ran it through again, and that gave me this shape at the end, giving me my different label. So that one's going to go on the outside. This one's going to go on the inside. The other reason I did it that way is the larger label kind of covers up more of the leaves, and I like the leaves. So kind of did dual purpose. Okay, when I put my front layer on, I'm going to need to cut a hole out of it, but I want to cut the hole out of not just the card base, I need it out of the designer series paper too. So what I'm going to do is put this on, but I'm kind of making sure that I'm staying outside of where that circle is going to be. So I'm not putting adhesive in the very center. You could. I didn't, because I wanted the two circles to come out and I wanted to be able to use them separately. I'm just kind of being stingy with my materials, I guess. But I'm going to take one of our circles out of here. Probably doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to run this through my machine and cut out just the middle. And this grid paper here is actually a great design for this, because I can count the number of squares on either side, and that's going to help me center that overall. Okay, so that perfectly cut out the center, and it gave me the two. So I have the one that's going to be the solid green. It didn't cut all the way through, but that's okay. After I pull the DSP out, I can nest it back in there and run it through one more time, and that will save it. And I'll have two. I'll have one that's in the beige and one that's in green. But that's for another card, so we don't need to do that right now. But it did give me my opening that I was looking for here. Okay, and then we're going to want this one to nest right in the middle, but I wanted a solid backing on this. And so I have adhesive sheet and I have my olive green over here. And so I'm going to layer them together. I want this to fit exactly around the outside, so I'm going to kind of start with this one. And I'm going to match it up as perfect as I can. And then I'm going to nest this one in the center. Tips. Sorry, I've got a cold. I feel like